Harley Quinn is definitely one of the standouts out of all the original concepts that stemmed from the creation of Batman the Animated Series, making her way into mainstream DC Comics and a plethora of media outside comics. There have been numerous adaptations across different animated shows, video games, and movies, further pushing the character into the public eye. Despite all that, I feel as if DC and Warner Brothers give her a little too much credit in giving her so many different adaptations in the last handful of years. Like, her being even remotely associated with the Batfamily is just kinda odd, while also delving more into the anti-hero aspect with her joining some other superhero-esque teams like the Birds of Prey for a little bit. I mean, she's a cool character and all, but it feels as if they're trying to make her another major pillar of the DC Universe or something. You see this weird push of the Suicide Squad ever since that garbage DCEU film came out in 2016. I've always questioned WB's obsession with this group, but then I realized a large part of that is probably just Harley herself. The squad low-key have more live-action movies than the Justice League, and Peacemaker of all people got his own spin-off show, and the character just boomed in popularity. But I'm not gonna lie, the show kinda fire. The animation side of things in more recent years I think have been indicative to an extent on some of the issues with modern day Harley Quinn. I've heard about the mixed reception of the Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie, and funny enough, I've never actually watched it up until recently, and this movie was weird, dude. For sure would give any Nightwing fan the ick. Early on in the film, Nightwing has a, physical altercation with Harley where he gets injected by Joker venom, knocked unconscious, to then wake up tied to her bedroom.
Hey, yo! I always kind of thought you and Batman didn't like girls.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Pretty lonely these last few months, if you know what I mean.
I'm not saying I don't want to, because that could be nice.
Face it, sugar. I got something you want, and you sure as shootin' got something I want.
The things I do for Gotham.
Batman noticed how Nightwing wasn't responding, so he pulls up to his location only to find Dick partaking in some nonsense.
How about that?
I was just about to call you.
Nigga, you gotta be ashamed of yourself, nigga. Real talk, you gotta be ashamed of yourself. All as you is.
Even though Harley has always had a more light-hearted personality, I feel as if in this movie she's kind of childishly annoying when compared to how she acted in Batman the Animated Series.
Do this, don't do that. Sit up straight, brush after every meal.
Oh,
It's not so bad. Smells like discipline.
oh man, Batman. I'm begging you.
That joke was an automatic 15-point deduction in the grade book. Like, who wrote that and thought it was funny? This ain't no Teen Titans Go. The plot of the movie is so painfully simplistic and not engaging. The humor more than half the time doesn't land, to the point where characters like Batman act out of character and Nightwing acts like a complete goofy goober. This literally feels like a parody of the new Batman Adventures, which is shocking since this was written by Bruce Timm. I'm not even gonna cap with y'all, man. This movie was kind of a stinker.
Oh, shucks.
The idea of Harley Quinn getting her own animated series isn't a bad idea or anything, but it's a bit odd to see priority in pushing her character over like Superman before the recent changes in leadership at WB and the release of My Adventures with Superman. Wonder Woman never got her own animated show. Green Lantern hasn't had a series since 2012. If you're not a fan of the idea of Harley Quinn being a very comedic character, almost to the degree of like Deadpool with meta humor, jokes, and parodies of a plethora of characters, this show ain't for you. Now, with that said, I think the first 2 seasons or so are pretty solid, with it not taking itself too seriously and having narrative threads that tie in together. The real problem is with the latest season, season 4, because I don't know what the hell they were cooking with that. Definitely a decline in quality, as the season is just all over the place and it felt like the writers were just throwing random bullcrap at the wall to see what they thought would stick. The dynamic between the OG gang or roster of characters like Clayface, Poison Ivy, Dr. Psycho, King Shark, and Harley Quinn are pretty much non-existent in the latest season, as the other characters outside of Harley and Ivy barely show up, which is a shame since their presence is what made the show work in the previous seasons, or at least one of the cooler aspects. There's a big emphasis on the Batfamily in season 4, and what they do to Nightwing is just an absolute travesty. Since the show is very comedic, that comes with the unfortunate cost of 99% of the jokes about Nightwing centering around his big fat juicy bunda. Like, it is non-stop to the point where it gets old really fast.
Now let's get that ass to clap, baby.
Exclusive on my juicy caboosey.
Oh yeah. Turn around and smolder. I said smolder. Gorgeous.
He did the same joke about 3 times already. I don't think it's funny anymore.
Oh, and Nightwing was somehow choked to death by Harley Quinn on accident while she was sleepwalking. The guy who was trained by Batman was killed by some clown chick while she was asleep.
I'm a good guy. I am a good guy. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. Oh, look, it looks so cute on you. I killed Nightwing.
And you didn't know!
Yo, come on, man. I can't have shit in this house!
The show clearly lacked a direction this time around. The humor just was not as saucy as it used to be, and Harley Quinn as a character slowly became more insufferable over time. When you think of the idea of an interconnected live-action DC movie universe, you would probably expect the major players or characters who get the most screen time to be a few key Justice League members like Batman and Superman along with Wonder Woman, maybe the Green Lantern Corps or the Flash. Well, since we can't have nice things, Harley Quinn somehow had a larger presence in the DCEU than both Batman and Superman in terms of screen time. Now, this version of the character is solid enough. I mean, they cooked with the Margot Robbie casting, but I feel as if they could have done a better job with her overall character arc with her separating from the Joker. The Birds of Prey movie kind of begins with that concept, but they don't linger on it for too long. It's pretty much like a side note or catalyst for her to partake in her own adventures.
I guess all good things have to come to an end. So, we broke up. I handled it real mature. I got an amazing new place that was all mine.
Oh no, she broke up with the Joker. Oh, well, anyway, moving on. Personally, that could have been the major component of an entire film if executed properly, as you see the gradual buildup of her character. In theory, that would be a cool concept, but I think the problem in trying to make this version sympathetic is that they paint a clear picture that this Harley is evil. They clearly state that she was an accomplice in the murder of Robin.
Harley Quinn.
You gotta be fucking lying.
What's wrong, dude?
Well, hell no, God, hell no.
The concept of the Birds of Prey movie in general is just very questionable, as it's quite clearly a Harley Quinn-centric movie featuring the Birds of Prey. She is the primary protagonist. It's told through her perspective, with her even narrating events of the film like she's Deadpool. I don't even know why they bothered to incorporate the Birds of Prey roster into the film. Just make a Harley Quinn solo movie. It's not like the general audience knew who the Birds of Prey were. Harley was already the primary focus of the marketing anyway. And the depiction of the Birds of Prey roster is sorry as hell, bro. Sure, you got a couple of characters from the comics like Black Canary and Huntress, but like, that's kind of it. I think Black Canary only uses her canary cry like towards the end of the film. The Birds of Prey roster has kind of fluctuated over the years, but the main key players usually consist of Barbara Gordon as Batgirl or Oracle, Black Canary, Huntress, usually a plethora of other mostly street level female DC characters coming and going. Renee Montoya is in the film, as well as Cassandra Cain, who legit has no similarities to her comic counterpart whatsoever. Why even go out of your way to call her Cassandra Cain in the first place? No ties to the Batfamily or League of Assassins to any degree. It boggles my mind as to why they didn't just make a Gotham City Sirens movie as an alternative. You have less characters to juggle with in terms of screen time, and they've got more recognizable characters with the inclusion of Catwoman and Poison Ivy. Now, even though I like Margot Robbie and all, personally, I don't think she should come back in the new DCU. Now hear me out, all right, real quick, walk with me. I just think it would be cleaner to hire an actress that hasn't had such a strong connection to the previous universe. You shouldn't go out of your way to cause any more audience confusion to the continuity of things. I just think it would be weird to have a Harley who interacted with Ben Affleck's Batman interact with a completely different actor and new roster of Batfamily characters. The characterization of Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League does not match up with how she was depicted in any of the previous Arkham games whatsoever. Like, it's not even close. Trying to make us believe this is in the same Arkham timeline is beyond me, because it's clear these writers were less interested in continuing that version and more focused on depicting the version, I guess, more seen in recent comics and the animated TV show. All of a sudden, she's over the Joker and sees her previous machinations with him as a phase she's outgrown, which is the biggest load of BS I've ever heard. Now, obviously, characters can grow and change, but it's kind of weird and off-putting to see such a dramatic shift in her character off screen, when in the last 2 games she was willing to do whatever just for the sake of the Joker, even after he died. The whole Harley Quinn's revenge DLC in Arkham City, as well as her trying to gather up the infected people in Panessa Studios.
Oh no! Been there, done that, got the scars, did some healing. I'm not into that type anymore.
Maladaptive narcissists?
Comedians.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. Bullshit.
The biggest offender in all of this is how Harley Quinn, of all people, decides to give Batman a big old talking to and lecture him on his morality.
You had a good run, Brucey. Flying around Gotham, punching bad guys, cleaning up the streets, causing long-term mental and emotional damage to everyone you knew.
Are you stupid?
Are you a stupid bitch? Mind you, Arkham Harley is probably the most sadistic version of the character we've seen outside the comics. You can't paint her as a victim in an abusive relationship too much, as she is still a grown woman who made her own choices. Yeah, the Joker is a horrible person who probably manipulated her to some extent, but in this universe it is clear she feels no remorse or guilt for the actions she's done alongside the Joker, like taking part in the torturing of Jason Todd, worked with the Joker to convince a man to commit suicide after he built an amusement park for them, as well as deciding to stop giving proper treatment to said man's daughter who was ill, stayed with the Joker even after he tortured and murdered an entire kindergarten class. Like, there are 0 F's given with this Harley. She wild for real. The character bios for the Justice League members were written by members of the squad, in which Harley wrote the bio for Batman, which clearly conveys the fact that she knows Batman is a good person deep down, noting how he could have killed a plethora of villains like her and Joker but chose not to, saying he's a softie through and through, which heavily indicates she knows he didn't kill the Joker. So that line in the park before she shoots Batman makes even less sense. And it's just kind of weird how they're all like up in arms and excited to kill Batman, like, yeah, let's go, yeah, we can't wait to kill that nigga, playing some lame ass track as they're walking in slow-mo ready to take him to Centennial Park, instead of, like, I don't know, figuring out a way to maybe reverse Brainiac's mind control, considering there's a slight chance to bring out the true versions of the League thanks to Diana's lasso. And the game just goes out of its way to disrespect my mans through and through.
I am vengeance. I am Harley. Even you can't be stupid enough to think that you're gonna die screaming at Superman's feet.
Why? What's up with his feet?
I don't know, man. We're 2 for 2 on killing your boys so far.
Ah! Love makes it worth the pleasure.
What kind of nonsense is this? It's never been done in the history of the Jedi. It's insulting. Calm down.
It's kind of hard to say what they should do with the Harley Quinn character or how to elevate her going forward. I just think it's weird with how much attention she's been given over the vast catalog of DC characters that more than deserve their time to shine in media consumed by the general public. There's been this attempt in not only making her a major poster child of the DC universe, but also injecting absurd amounts of humor that sometimes land and other times drop the ball entirely in a couple of adaptations here and there. The character isn't going away anytime soon, which I don't think is a bad thing. There are interesting things you can do with her if given the right creative team. Just don't ever imitate that Batman and Harley Quinn movie. My god, that was some dookie. Never let them cook again in that department.